Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read 1 Samuel 1 to 5, Proverbs 31 and Psalm 64. Let's get started. A certain man from Ramathaim in the hill country of Ephraim was named Elkanah. He was the son of Jeroham. Jeroham was the son of Elihu. Elihu was the son of Tohu. Tohu was the son of Zaph. Elkanah belonged to the family line of Zaph. Elkanah lived in the territory of Ephraim. Elkanah had 2 wives. One was named Hannah. The other was named Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah didn't. Year after year, Elkanah went up from his town to Shiloh. He went there to worship and sacrifice to the Lord who rules over all. Hophni and Phinehas served as priests of the Lord at Shiloh. They were the 2 sons of Eli. Every year at Shiloh, the day would come for Elkanah to offer sacrifice. On that day, he would give a share of the meat to his wife Peninnah. He would also give a share to each of her sons and daughters, but he would give 2 shares of meat to Hannah. That's because he loved her. He also gave her 2 shares because the Lord had kept us from having children. Peninnah teased Hannah to make her angry. She did it because the Lord had kept Hannah from having children. Peninnah teased Hannah year after year. Every time Hannah would go up to the house of the Lord, Elkanah's other wife would tease her. She would keep doing it until Hannah cried and wouldn't eat. Her husband Elkanah would say to her, "Hannah, why are you crying? Why don't you eat? Why are you so unhappy? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?" One time when they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Eli the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house. Hannah was very sad. She wept and wept. She prayed to the Lord. She made a promise to him. She said, "Lord, you rule over all. Please see how I'm suffering. Show concern for me. Don't forget about me. Please give me a son. If you do, I'll give him back to the Lord. If you do, then he will serve the Lord all the days of his life. He'll never use a razor on his head. He'll never cut his hair." As Hannah kept on praying to the Lord, Eli watched her lips. She was praying in her heart. Her lips were moving, but she wasn't making a sound. Eli thought Hannah was drunk. He said to her, "How long are you going to stay drunk? Stop drinking your wine." "That's not true, sir," Hannah replied. "I'm a woman who is deeply troubled. I haven't been drinking wine or beer. I was telling the Lord all my troubles. Don't think of me as an evil woman. I've been praying here because I'm very sad. My pain is so great." Eli answered, "Go in peace. May the God of Israel give you what you have asked him for." She said, "May you be pleased with me." Then she left and had something to eat. Her face wasn't sad anymore. Early the next morning, Elkanah and his family got up. They worshipped the Lord. Then they went back to their home in Ramah. Elkanah slept with his wife Hannah, and the Lord blessed her. So after some time, Hannah became pregnant. She had a baby boy. She said, "I asked the Lord for him." So she named him Samuel. Elkanah went up to Shiloh to offer the yearly sacrifice to the Lord. He also went there to keep a promise he had made. His whole family went with him, but Hannah didn't go. He said to her husband, "When the boy doesn't need me to breastfeed him anymore, I'll give him to the Lord there. He'll stay there for the rest of his life." Her husband Elkanah told her, "Do what you think is best. Stay here at home until Samuel doesn't need you to breastfeed him anymore. May the Lord make his promise to you come true." So Hannah stayed home. She breastfed her son until he didn't need her milk anymore. When the boy didn't need her to breastfeed him anymore, she took him with her to Shiloh. She took him there even though he was still very young. She brought him to the Lord's house. She brought along a bull that was 3 years old. She brought 36 pounds of flour. She also brought a bottle of wine. The bottle was made out of animal skin. After the bull was sacrificed, Elkanah and Hannah brought the boy to Eli. Hannah said to Eli, "Pardon me, son. I'm the one who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. And that's just as sure as you are alive. I pray for this child. The Lord has given me what I asked him for. So now I'm giving him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he will be given to the Lord." And there Eli worshipped the Lord. Then Hannah prayed. She said, "The Lord has filled my heart with joy. He has made me strong. I can laugh at my enemies. I'm so glad he saved me. There isn't anyone holy like the Lord. There isn't anyone except him. There isn't any rock like our God. Don't keep talking so proudly. Don't let your mouth say such proud things. The Lord is a God who knows everything. He judges everything people do. The bows of great people, great heroes are broken. But those who trip and fall are made strong. Those who used to be full have to work for food. But those who used to be hungry aren't hungry anymore. The woman who couldn't have children has 7 of them now. But the woman who has had many children is sad now because hers have died. The Lord causes people to die. He also gives people life. He brings people down to the grave. He also brings people up from death. The Lord makes people poor. He also makes people rich. He brings people down. He also lifts people up. He raises poor people up from the trash pile. He lifts needy people out of the ashes. He lets them sit with princes. He gives them places of honor. The foundations of the earth belong to the Lord. On them he has set the world. He guides the path of his faithful servants. Evil people will lie silent in their dark graves. People don't win just because they are strong. Those who oppose the Lord will be totally destroyed. The Most High God will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the earth from one end of the other. He will give power to his king. He will give honor to his anointed one. Then Elkanah went home to Ramah. But the boy Samuel served the Lord under the direction of Eli the priest. Eli's sons were good for nothing. They didn't honor the Lord. When any of the people came to offer sacrifice, here's what the priest would do. While the meat was being boiled, the servant of the priest would come with a large fork in his hand. He would stick the fork into the pan or pot or small or large kettle. Then the priest would take for himself everything the fork brought up. That's how Eli's sons treated all the Israelites who came to Shiloh. Even before the fat was burned, the priest's servant would come in. He would speak to the person who was offering the sacrifice. He would say, "Give the priest some meat to cook. He will only accept boiled meat from me. He won't accept boiled meat from me. He will only accept raw meat." Sometimes the person would say to him, "Let the fat be burned first, then take what you want." But the servant would answer, "No, hand it over right now. If you don't, I'll take it away from you by force." That sin of Eli's sons was very great in the Lord's sight. That's because they were not treating his offering with respect. But the boy Samuel served the Lord. He wore a sacred linen. Each year, his mother made him a little robe. She took it to him when she went up to Shiloh with her husband. She did it when her husband went to offer the yearly sacrifice. Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife. He would say, "May the Lord give you children by this young woman. By this woman. May they take the place of the boy she prayed for and gave to the Lord." And they would go home. The Lord was gracious to Hannah. Over a period of 2 years, she had 3 more sons and 2 daughters. During that whole time, the boy Samuel grew up serving the Lord. Eli was very old. He kept hearing about everything his sons were doing to all the Israelites. He also heard how his sons were sleeping with the woman who served at the entrance to the tent meeting. So Eli said to his sons, "Why are you doing these things? All the people are telling me about the evil things you are doing. No, my son, the report I hear isn't good, and it's spreading among the Lord's people. If a person sins against someone else, God can help that sinner. But if anyone sins against the Lord, who can help them?" In spite of what their father Eli said, his sons didn't pay any attention to his warning. That's because the Lord had already decided to put them to death. The boy Samuel continued to grow strong. He also became more and more pleasing to the Lord and to people. The man of God came to Eli. He told him, "The Lord says, I made myself clearly known to your relatives who live longer. I did it when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh's rule. At that time, I chose Aaron from your family line to be my priest. I chose him out of all the tribes of Israel. I chose him to go up to the altar. I told him to burn incense. I chose him to wear a linen apron when he served me. I also gave his family all the food offerings presented by the Israelites. Why don't you treat my sacrifices and offerings with respect? I require them to be brought to the house where I live. Why do you honor your sons more than me? Why do you fatten yourselves on the best parts of every offering that is made by my people Israel? The Lord is the God of Israel. He knows. I promised that members of your family line would serve me as priest forever. But now the Lord announces, I will not let that happen. I will honor those who honor me, but I will turn away from those who look down on me. The time is coming when I will cut your life short. I will also cut short the lives of those in your family line of priests. No one in your family line will grow old. You will see nothing but trouble in the house where I live. Good things will still happen to Israel, but no one in your family line will ever grow old. I will prevent the members of your family from serving me at my altar. I will destroy the eyesight of all of you I allow to live. And I will also cause you to lose your strength. And everyone in your family line will die while they are still young. Something is going to happen to your 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas. When it does, it will show you that what I am saying is true. They will both die on the same day. I will raise up for myself a faithful priest. He will do what my heart and mind want him to do. I will make his family line of priests very secure. They will always serve as priests to my anointed king. Everyone left in your family line will come and bow down to him. They will beg him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread. They will say, Please give me a place to serve among the priests. Then I can have food to eat. The boy Samuel served the under the direction of Eli. In those days, the Lord didn't give many messengers messengers to his heel. He didn't give them many visions. One night Eli was lying down in his usual place. His eyes were becoming so weak he couldn't see very well. Samuel was lying down in the Lord's house. That's where the Ark of God was kept. The lamp of God was still burning. The Lord called out to Samuel, Samuel, you called out to me. So Eli said, I didn't call you. Go back and lie down. So he went and lay down. Again the Lord called out, Samuel. Samuel got up and went to Eli. He said, Here I am. You called out to me. My son, Eli said, I didn't call you. Go back and lie down. Samuel didn't know the Lord yet. That's because the Lord still hadn't given him a message. The Lord called out for the third time. He said, Samuel. Samuel got up and went to Eli. He said, Here I am. You called out to me. Then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, Go and lie down. If someone calls out to you again, say, Speak, Lord. I'm listening. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. The Lord came and stood there. He called out, just as he had done the other times. He said, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel replied, Speak, I'm listening. The Lord said to Samuel, Pay attention. I am about to do something terrible in Israel. It will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. At that time, I will do everything to Eli and his family that I said I would. I will finish what I have started. I told Eli I would punish his family forever. He knew his sons were sinning. He knew they were saying bad things about me. In spite of that, he did not stop them. So I made a promise to the family of Eli. I said, the sons of Eli's family will never be paid for by bringing sacrifices or offerings. Samuel lay down until morning, and then he opened the doors of the Lord's house. He was afraid to tell Eli about the vision he had received, but Eli called out to him. He said, Samuel, my son. Samuel answered, Here I am. What did the Lord say to you? Eli asked. Don't hide from me anything he told you. If you do, may God punish you greatly. So Samuel told him everything. He didn't hide anything from him. Then Eli said, Here's the Lord. Let him do what he thinks is best. As Samuel grew up, the Lord was with him. He made everything Samuel had said come true. So all the Israelites recognized that Samuel really was a prophet of the Lord. Everyone from Dan all the way to Beersheba knew it. The Lord continued to appear at Shiloh. There he made himself known to Samuel through the messages he gave him. And Samuel gave those messages to all the Israelites. The Israelites went out to fight against the Philistines. The Israelites camped at Ebenezer. The Philistines camped at Aphek. The Philistines brought their forces together to fight against Israel. As the fighting spread, the Israelites lost the battle to the Philistines. The Philistines killed about 4,000 of them on the field of battle. The rest of the Israelite soldiers returned to camp. And then the elders asked them, Why did the Lord let the Philistines win the battle over us today? Let's bring the ark of the Lord's covenant from Shiloh. Let's take it with us, and the Lord will save us from the power of our enemies. So the people sent men to Shiloh. They brought back the ark of the Lord's covenant. He sits there on his throne between the cherubim. The Lord is the one who rules over all. Eli's 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were with the ark of God's covenant law. The ark was in Shiloh. The ark of the Lord's covenant law was brought into the camp. Then all the Israelites shouted so loudly that the ground shook. The Philistines heard the noise. They asked, What's all that shouting about in the Hebrew camp? Then the Philistines found out that the ark of the Lord had come out into the camp. So they were afraid. Her God has come into their camp. They said, Oh no, nothing like this has ever happened before. How terrible it will be for us. Who will save us from the power of these mighty gods? They struck down the people of Egypt in the desert. And they sent all kinds of plagues on them. Philistines, be strong, fight like men. If you don't, you will come under the control of the Hebrews. You will become their slaves, just as they have been your slaves. Fight like men. So the Philistines fought. The Israelites lost the battle, and every man ran back to his tent. A large number of men were killed. Israel lost 30,000 soldiers who were on foot. The ark of God was captured, and Eli's 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. That same day, a man from the tribe of Benjamin ran from the front lines of the battle. He went to Shiloh. His clothes were torn. He had dust on his head. When he arrived, there was Eli sitting on his chair. He was by the side of the road. He was watching because his heart was really concerned about the ark of God. A man entered the town and told everyone what had happened. Then the whole town cried out. Eli heard the people crying out. He asked, What's the meaning of all this noise? And the man hurried over to Eli. Eli was 98 years old. His eyes were so bad he couldn't see. The man told Eli, I've just come from the front lines of the battle. I just ran away from there today. Eli asked, What happened, son? The man who brought the news replied, Israel ran away from the Philistines. Large numbers of men in your army were wounded or killed. Your 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are also dead, and the ark of God is being captured. When the man spoke about the ark of God, Eli fell backward off his chair. He had been sitting by the side of the gate. When he fell, he broke his neck and died. He was old and fat. He had led Israel for 40 years. The wife of Phinehas was pregnant. She was Eli's daughter-in-law. It was near the time for a baby to be born. She heard the news that the ark of God had been captured. She heard that her father-in-law and her husband were dead. So she went into labor and had a baby. Her pain was more than she could bear. As she was dying, the woman helping her spoke up. They said, "Don't be afraid. You have had a son." But she didn't reply. She didn't pay any attention. She named the boy Ichabod. She said, "The Lord God of glory has left Israel." She said it because the ark of God had been captured. She also said it because her husband-in-law and her husband had died. She said, "The God of glory has died." She said, The God of glory has left Israel." She said it because the ark of God had been captured. The Philistines had captured the ark of God. They took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. They carried the ark into the temple of their god Dagon. They set it down beside the statue of Dagon. The people of Ashdod got up early the next day. They saw the statue of Dagon. There it was, lying on the ground. It had fallen on its face in front of the ark of the Lord. So they picked up the statue of Dagon. They put it back in its place. But the following morning, when they got up, they saw the statue of Dagon. There it was, lying on the ground again. It had fallen on its face in front of the ark of the Lord. Its head and hands had been broken off. Only the body of the statue was left. Its head and hands were lying in the doorway of the temple. That was why to this day no one steps on the bottom part of the doorway of Dagon's temple at Ashdod. Not even the priests of Dagon stepped there. The Lord's power was against the people of Ashdod and so much nearer. He assured them. He made them suffer with growths in their bodies. The people of Ashdod saw what was happening. They said, "The ark of the God of Israel must not stay here with us. His power is against us and against our god Dagon." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines. They asked them, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" The rulers answered, "Have the ark moved to Gath." So they moved it. But after the people of Ashdod had moved the ark, the Lord's power was against Gath. They threw its people into a great panic. The Lord made them break out with growths in their bodies. It happened to young people and old people alike. So the ark of God was sent to Ekron. As the ark was entering Ekron, the people of the city cried out. They shouted, "They have brought the ark of the God of Israel to us. They want to kill us and our people." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines. They said, "Send the ark of the God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place. If you don't, it will kill us and our people." The death of so many people had filled the city with panic. God's power was against the city. Those who didn't die suffered with growths in their bodies. The people of Ekron cried out to heaven for help. Proverbs 31. These are the sayings of King Lemuel. His mother taught them to him. These sayings came from God. "Listen, my son. Listen, my praying son. Listen, you who are the answer to my prayers. Don't waste your strength on women. Don't waste on those who destroy it. Lemuel, it isn't good for kings to drink wine. It isn't good for rulers to long for beer. If they do, they might drink and forget what is being commanded. They might take away the rights of all those who are treated badly. Let beer be for those who are dying. Let wine be for those who are sad and troubled. Let them drink and forget how poor they are. Let them forget their suffering. Speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. Speak up for the rights of all those who are poor. Speak up and judge fairly. Speak up for the rights of those who are poor and needy. Who can find an excellent woman? She is worth far more than Moses. Her husband trusts her completely. She gives him all the important things she needs. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She chooses wool and flax. She loves to work with her hands. She is like the ships of traders. She brings her food from far away. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family. She also gives some to her female sons. She considers the field and buys it. She uses some of the money she earns to plant a vineyard. She gets money ready to work hard. Her arms are strong. She sees that her trading earns a lot of money. Her lamp doesn't go out at night. With one hand, she holds the wool. With the other, she spins the thread. She opens her arms to those who are poor. She reaches out her hands to those who are needy. When it snows, she is not afraid for her family. All of them are dressed in the finest clothes. She makes her own bed covering. She is dressed in fine linen and purple clothes. Her husband is respected at the city gate. There he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen clothes and sells them. And he supplies belts to the traders. She puts on strength and honor as if they were her clothes. She can laugh at the days that are coming. She speaks widely. She teaches faithfully. She watches over family matters. She is busy all the time. Her children stand up and call her blessed. Her husband also rises up and he praises her. He says, "Many people do excellent things, but you are better than all the others. Some can call you. Beauty fades, but a woman who is respectful of the Lord should be praised. Give her honor for all that her hands have done. Let everything she has done bring praise to her at the city gate." Psalm 64. God, hear me as I tell you my problem. Don't let my enemies kill me. Hide me from people who want to talk to Hide me from evil people who talk about how to harm me. Hide me from those people who are planning to do evil. They make their tongues like sharp swords. They aim their mean words like deadly arrows. They shoot from their hiding places at people who aren't guilty. They shoot quickly and aren't afraid of being caught. They help one another make evil plans. They talk about hiding their traps. They say, who can see what we are doing? They make plans to do what is evil. They say, we have thought up a perfect plan. The hearts and minds of people are so clever. But God will shoot my enemies with his arrows. He will suddenly strike them down. He will turn their own words against them. He will destroy them. All those who see them will shake their heads and look down at them. All people will respect God. They will tell about his works. They will think about what he has done. Godly people will be full of joy because of what the Lord has done. They will go to him for safety. All those whose hearts are honest will be proud of what he has done. Now the Son chanted the Lord's Prayer. These bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as it rests upon our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.